Sound test. Okay. Welcome everyone to stream number 15. Alright, so today is going to be a shorter stream, just 1 hour I would say. And just like last time, you can use, of course, the YouTube chat if you have any questions, but as well the Tatoeba chat. So let me just switch view. Right, so Tatoeba chat, which is at the URL, which is normally written just above over here, and if you go to chat.tatoeba.org, which I'm going to do right now, you have access to the chat and you can type questions over here. So there we go. Okay, so let's start with the usual, which is the Tatoeba update. So this week, what do we have? So we have just small things, I mean nothing that is revolutionary. First thing is the display of, so this we change a little bit how the display of messages that are hidden. So we hide messages sometimes when people cross the lines and are starting to argue and the discussions start to derail. So we have a feature to hide comments and messages on the wall and comments on sentences, and we're just bringing a little change here where we won't be displaying anymore the username and the avatars for the comments that are hidden, so that they are completely hidden, not just the content hidden. The one thing will remain is that there will still be the knowledge that there was a message that has been hidden, but there will only be the dates. And the second thing is that we have changed a little bit our terms of use, actually more than a month ago, maybe 2 months ago, I don't remember. But yeah, this implied that we had to update our terms of use, and finally we have the changes necessary for the terms of use to be like to announce that the terms of use have changed. So you're gonna see a pop-up, like not a pop-up, but an announcement banner saying that we have updated the terms of use. So those are the things that change, but the terms of use themselves, even though the banner will say that you need to accept, in fact you will not really need, that there is no consent that will really be necessary in there, because the only thing we changed is that we remove Google Analytics, and so you are no longer tracked with Google Analytics when you visit Tatoeba. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the usual thing, the deployment. So okay, so the translations I've already taken care of that, although probably I don't have the very latest translations, but I think there hasn't been too much changes, and anyway I plan to have another update. I mean, I plan to have updates on a weekly basis, so I think if we are missing some translations, we can survive. There is no strings in here that we absolutely need to have online today as soon as possible. So this part here was already done. Right, so we're gonna go to the next part, which is merging dev into master. So just checking that I'm up to date. So checkout master, merge dev, tagging. So today 0424 and pushing. And then we are going to update production. So checkout master, it should already be in master. Updating master. And then build the changes, creating the new folder. And then we switch to the new folder. And we refresh the cache, PHP cache. And that should be it. So we're gonna log in. And we do see this, so accept and close. Yeah, and the other thing, so yeah, the other thing, I don't know if I'll be able to find. I guess we can just browse a little bit. Yeah, okay, so actually for me as an admin, I can actually see the content, but I should log out. So admins and the author of the comment themselves will be able to see the comments, but normally if you are not logged in, or if you are another user, then all you will see is something like this, which is the expected display. So everything's good. So we can go to the milestone and close it. Okay, so that was for today's Tatoeba update. Yeah, I can probably start creating or planning the one for next week. Yeah, let's say we'll have it on Sunday as usual. So like updating Tatoeba is not I do it on Sunday because this is when I have most time, but we could technically update any time really. So all right. Okay, so what's going to be next? So I've mentioned already in one of the previous streams that one of my priorities is to handle the pull request. So every pull request I'll try to give as much priority as possible, so that, I mean, basically my goal, one of my main goals is to reduce the list in here to 0, so to have nothing. So yeah, if we compare with a couple of months ago, I think we're on a good track. The number of pull requests is slowly decreasing, so we only have 5 pull requests left now. The first one support multiple audio recordings per sentence, so I don't think this one will be ready for next week, but the last comments I've seen, yeah, it seems to be on a good track, so maybe that is something for end of May, who knows. But yeah, this will anyway be one of the things. As soon as it's ready, we can start looking. I mean, I can start on my side, at least I can start testing a little bit more thoroughly. Although I did in one of the streams, I think I did go through testing a little bit. I think it was one of the streams with Gilux here. So the second one, I'm not sure why actually it's not merged yet, because when I looked at it earlier, it said that new commits look good, so this seems to be something stable enough. Maybe I'll double check with Yorba and Gilux, but I think this is pretty safe to merge. So I'll just add it for next week. And yeah, what it does here is really just optimization, as far as I understand. It's just that sometimes when you try to view the translations of a sentence, when there's a lot of translations, it's going to be very slow to open. So we're talking about this thing here. So if I click here, well, right here it feels fast, but I guess in some cases, maybe depending on the browser, depending on your computer, it might be very slow. So as far as I understand, this is about optimizing the opening of these translations. So next one is something that is pretty old as well. So this is about replacing the language icon, so the flag that is currently used for the language Tigrinya, yes, Tigrinya, or Tigrinya, I'm not sure how that should be pronounced. So currently the icon looks like this, and here the suggested change is to have half of it with a certain flag, I can't remember which flag it is, and the other half with another flag. So yeah, this one as well, I think we don't need to leave it hanging there, because if we go back to the discussion where this started, so yeah, I posted how it looks currently, how it could look like, and the feedback was that well, the main feedback I get from this is like, at least Josias, however this is pronounced, so this user here, I think agrees that this option here conveys the proper idea for this language, for Tigrinya, and we have also OID. I'll pronounce it OID, but I'm not sure if it should be OID11. OID11 also believes that both suggestions are fine, so both meaning we could have also reverted to using just the ISO code in a white background, but yeah, there is already a pull request for the one with the two flags sharing the same space, so I think we can go ahead with this one. Okay. So if we continue, so this one is a draft. And yeah, I think it was left as draft because it changes some behavior that maybe could be unwanted. I can't remember exactly which one, but so not something we will merge, but maybe something we'll have to look into if we can extract things from this. Let me read it quickly again. Okay, because there's a performance issue with the new design. When there are lots of translations, it can take more than a second for all the translations. Okay, so that was actually a bit related to the one over here. Okay, so maybe it could be merged. Yeah, let's merge this one first, and then we'll see what we do with this one. And the last one is about the new sentence design. So that's a very old one, and I think this one, so I'm going to close it, not because well, I'll leave it here for now because there's many things we could extract from it, but I think what all the changes that I wanted to do in this pull request, maybe it would have been better if they were introduced step by step. So that's what I'm gonna do, I think. And we could start for next week with this one here. That could be, I don't know, this one is okay, maybe not. No, let's start with the other ones which are bugs, so they will be more, it's more straightforward to fix them. So I think these two here we can add for next week. All right. So yeah, what would you have here? Yep, in the end, what is planned currently for next week is 2 of the pull requests that are already here and 2 other bugs for which I'll have to open pull requests, but that's gonna be it for the next updates, Tatoeba updates. Okay, so now that we're done with the changes in Tatoeba, I wanted today to talk about 2 topics. One is audio, and the other one is the translations of the UI. So we're gonna start with audio. Yeah, so mostly I thought about this topic because one of the pull requests is about audio and is about allowing several audio recordings for a same sentence. So at the moment we only have 1 audio per sentence. Like if I, for instance, oh, actually we have 1 here. So we only have 1, as you can see, we only have 1 audio. So that's actually a very old request. If we, probably one of the oldest tickets that are still open in Tatoeba, which is from 2014. So it will be very, at least for me, it will be very exciting when that one is finally closed. But yeah, so audio. So audio is, it's something that we have in Tatoeba, but something where, let's say, Tatoeba, it's kind of not the main, it's not the main content of Tatoeba, but over the years it has grown pretty big. So today we actually have pretty, like almost 1 million sentences with audio, which is, well, which will be a pretty good milestone when we reach the million. But yeah, we have 1 million sentences with audio, and I wanted to show a little bit how this audio is being contributed, to explain like the whole process of how people contribute audio. so that people have a bit of awareness about that, and maybe some people will be inspired to either contribute audio or to help improve this whole process, because as you will see, this is not the easiest process that we have here, and probably a lot of people who want to contribute audio might give up midway, because yeah, it's too much of a hassle. But I'll still show you how this works. So first of all, how do we find people to contribute audio? Is because when a sentence doesn't have audio, you have this icon here, which if you click on it, it actually opens a page that will explain how to contribute audio. So first of all, it will explain that audio is contributed by volunteers. And if a sentence doesn't have audio, then everybody can volunteer to record it. So there are 2 pages which explain how someone can contribute. So one actually redirects to an external website, which is CK's website. So CK is the admin in Tatoeba, who is the main person in charge of managing the audio. So in the sense that when people record audio, he's the one who will guide the contributor on what to do. And then there's a second page which is within the wiki itself, which is more about the process, the general process of contributing audio. So concretely, if you wanted to contribute audio, so probably this page has more practical information, and this page is more about the process. So yeah, I'm not going to go into details of all of this, but we can just look at the big steps. So yeah, obviously one of the first steps is that you need to have a microphone, and we try to do some quality control here, so that the audio are not are understandable and are good quality enough. So what we will request when somebody wants to contribute audio is that first they send us some samples. So they record 1 or 2 random sentences and send us to team.tatoeba.org. And this is where CK will listen to the samples, and then he will evaluate if the audio is good enough or not. And if it is good enough, then he will send a list of sentences to record. So assuming the user follows the guide over here, they would be using a special software called Stuka. So this is a software that we recommend because it allows to record audio in bulk in a very easy way. However, I think I'm not sure how difficult it is. It's a very old software by now, so I'm not sure how much it's updated and if people have trouble running it as of today. But so yeah, it's just a recommendation. Obviously, people can use whatever they want to record, but this is one of the software that we recommend to use. And the list that we generate can be imported in the software so that it shows up. So there's a video here who kind of demonstrates how it works. But yeah, basically the software will display each sentence and highlight one of them, and you just speak, and then I think it skips automatically to the next, so that it can go very fast to record all the content in the list. But so yeah, basically that's it. So we send the list. So obviously in the list of sentences to record, if there is anything that the user doesn't want to record, well, either because they don't feel comfortable with the sentence itself, maybe it's a sentence that I don't know, if I'm if I'm female and there's a sentence that where the subject is male, maybe I don't feel like it makes sense for me to record it, so I might want to skip it. Can be one of the things, or it could be because you've seen a mistake in the sentence, in which case like the sentence doesn't sound like natural to you as a native speaker, so obviously you shouldn't record anything that you think should be corrected, or the sentence is maybe a little bit too offensive, pornographic, or that kind of thing where you just don't feel comfortable for the content itself. So yeah, so that is up to the contributor to kind of filter out anything they want to record, so just remove them from the list. And then if they use Shtuka, they can import it and just read sentence by sentence, and then the files that will be saved out of the sentence will have already the correct name. But if you were to record without Shtuka, then you would have to, each of the files that are, each of the audio files would have to basically be a number .mp3, so, and the number would be the number of the sentence. So yeah. And once the sentences are recorded, it's up to the user, so it's up to the contributor to upload them wherever they can. I'm not sure. So Tatoeba, we don't have a space where people can upload directly their audio files. They actually have to upload them somewhere, so it could be Google Drive, or it could be some other place, I don't know, some other drive, and then CK would download these files, and as an admin, so I can't remember not inputs but imports, I think. Yeah, I'll have to be logged in. So admins have access to a special page where basically audio files can be imported, but for this to be imported, they first have to be uploaded to the server, the Tatoeba server. So this is like CK has access to it, I also have access, so there is a special folder in our server where these files have to be uploaded. So we don't open it to everyone, obviously, because we don't want to like take the risk that somebody just dumps a bunch of random data and just overloads our disk space. But yeah, so the contributor has to upload the audio somewhere. This is downloaded by whoever manages the audio, in this case CK. Then CK uploads the audio into the Tatoeba server, and then goes to this page. And from this page, normally the audio uploaded will be listed, and then yeah, over here. So CK would just indicate the contributor, the username of the contributor, and then click import, and then the audio file will be moved from that temporary folder in our server to the actual folder where the rest of the audio files are. So yeah, that's as you can see, that's the process, and it's not exactly the easiest process. So if you have, of course, if you have anything in everything that I explained, if there's anything you feel could be done more easily and like doesn't take months of development, feel free to suggest. If there's anything in the process that you feel should be changed, should be improved, feel free to suggest. So I think one of the concerns that have been raised in what I've explained here is about the selections of the sentences to record. So like how do we choose what sentences we send to the contributor, right? And as of today, this is really up to CK's discretion. So he's the one who manages all of it. So if the contributor does not have any special criteria on what sentences they want to record, then it basically falls down to CK to decide what sentences are sent to be recorded. So I think this has raised some concerns for some people, because obviously it might feel a little bit unfair that this decision is just one person deciding, and can have a lot of influence about what sentences in Tatoeba get more attention. So yeah. Anyway, if you have anything you'd like to change in the process, and if you of course have a solution of what we can do instead to make it better, then we are always open to suggestions. Now, as I said, the whole process is very complicated, and you could be wondering, well, why doesn't Tatoeba just provide a way to record audio directly from the browser? I mean, that would be obviously the best solution. Now, on that topic, so as far as I know, so first of all, this is a topic that, of course, we've tried. So we try to work on. So this is something we are completely aware. And there's we even have a ticket here in GitHub about this whole issue, that it's too complicated to contribute audio at the moment. And there has been an attempt of a proof of concept to record audio from inside the browser. So I actually never tried it, but yeah, there is something here. And I should mention that this is also a topic that we've tried to have it developed through Google Summer of Code. So if you kind of dig into our wiki, you might notice there is a page, Google Summer of Code. So this is in 2020, and actually even some years before that. We've tried several times to apply to Google Summer of Code, where it's basically a program organized by Google where students are basically paid by Google to participate during the summer in coding for open source projects. And the way it works is that there is a phase where open source organizations can apply to the program, and then Google will select organization which are called mentoring organizations. So where basically in the organization there will be some developers who will be mentoring the students that want to contribute to open source. And so with Tatoeba, we've been accepted once. Actually, it was a long time ago now. It was 2014, I think. But yeah, since then, when we tried to apply again, unfortunately, we didn't get accepted the next times. And the last time, so they explained mostly that Tatoeba, I think the main reason was Tatoeba is basically doesn't have enough of a big enough of a dev community, because we only listed like 2 mentors, I think, and I think they were expecting maybe 10 mentors. I don't know, they were expecting more, a bigger dev community who could basically mentor the students. And so that's why we were rejected in 2020, and since then we haven't really tried to apply again. But yeah, so that is a side note. The main point I wanted to mention was that to apply to Google Summer of Code, so you have to list a bunch of projects, and one of the projects that we listed is about audio and about allowing contributors to record audio directly through the web page. But yeah, unfortunately, so in short, this idea is not new at all. It's like from many years already, but we are lacking, as always, we are lacking the resources to get this done. So yeah. If anybody wants to help on that front, most of the work that has been done to allow Tatoeba to have audio was actually not done by me. So as far as I'm concerned, audio was always more of a of a side thing, and not really in my priority, and it's still not in my priority because yeah, there's still so many other topics I have to take care of. So audio is something that is pushed by mostly well, it was initially pushed by I think it was Cisco, like one of the very first main contributor, the developer for Tatoeba. So that was introduced by him, and then the rest of the work around audio, I think, was done mostly by Shilux. But yeah, so if you want to help on that front, there's a lot to do, and I think it's important to increase audio material, but yeah, it's not something I personally can prioritize. But I really hope that people can feel inspired enough to come, join, and help. Now, there is a second possibility, which is rather than including audio directly in Tatoeba, so as part of Tatoeba, I could imagine, I mean, that would be okay as well if somebody decided to create a separate platform which is really specialized in collecting audio, and we try to figure out a way to synergize with this other platform. So there is actually, so talking about that, there is actually one that exists, and that we started to collaborate with, and thanks to, so this is from Mozilla, so it's called Common Voice, and it's actually thanks to them that we managed to have some fundings to have paid staff for Tatoeba. So this was really nice. But yeah, so there is this platform, Common Voice, where basically you can, it's just about recording audio and and validating audio. And the collaboration that we had with them, unfortunately, it stopped, well, let's say at the more legal stage, which is one of the requirements that Common Voice has, is that their content should be in CC0. So CC0 is like, you can imagine this is public domain, and basically for them to be able to release their audio in CC0, they had to so they could have, of course, just taken all the sentences of Tatoeba and record them, but because audio would have been derivative content of Tatoeba's data, and it would have been incompatible for them, so it's just a licensing issue, right? They cannot release their audio in CC0 if the audio is derivative from content that is CC BY. And so out of that, like the first step of collaboration that we could do was to to allow Tatoeba to include sentences in CC0. And so that was, I mean, that's really what was done for as part of how we could start to collaborate, but then it stopped there because no more. Well, on their side, I think it was a bit difficult as well to find like, I guess, the resources to improve their own platform, like to find ways to integrate with other platforms. But also on our side, we didn't have the resource as well to go further. But let's say this is already a good start, that we have these sentences in C0, which technically, if anybody wants to contribute audio in Common Voice, they could record those sentences. Now the main question is, well, for anybody who has recorded audio for these sentences, how do we bring them back into Tatoeba? How do we make them accessible in Tatoeba? So this is again another question, but basically, yeah. So basically, there's those two possible strategies if we want to increase audio. So either somebody is motivated enough to like just take care of audio and implement something within Tatoeba that would allow users to easily record audio, and that would allow like the whole community to, just to manage the audio. So that would be quite a lot of work. And that would also require to be familiar with the technologies that are used. So yeah, to be familiar with PHP, among other things. Or if someone is motivated to improve the audio ecosystem, but doesn't want necessarily to like to go through the trouble of learning Tatoeba code base, I think it's also a valid thing if they would try to make a separate platform that is all about managing audio, and that we somehow find a way to integrate with each other. Either way would be fine. At the end of the day, me personally, I cannot get involved, but I'm completely fine with either of these outcomes. Right. So that was about audio, and for the second topic, second topic I wanted to talk about is UI translations. So this is about basically the interface, so the user interface, which currently we have available in 56 languages, if I count it properly, which is actually more than I thought. Now that I think about it, it's quite good to have so many languages available for the UI. So yeah, you can, from your profile over here, or also from the bottom of the page, you can switch to one of these languages, and then the UI will be available in that language. And so I wanted to take a bit of time to explain, well, how does this all work? So how are people contributing to translate the UI? So okay, actually let me just switch back to English. All right, so first of all, maybe to clarify, so you might be wondering, like, why don't we use Tatoeba itself to translate the UI? And the reason is because if you look at some of the items that is in a user interface, it's not like, for instance, the items in the menu. Those would not be correct sentences in the Tatoeba corpus. So that's one thing. The second thing is, like, you will have sometimes text that have some placeholder. So for instance, if we take this text here, the time would be here a placeholder and then a go. So okay, that also wouldn't be really a valid sentence in Tatoeba, but you would also have to think about if it's singular or plural, if it's like masculine or feminine or this kind of stuff, which at the end of the day, it's like it's not really what Tatoeba was built for, right? So it's a little bit more complex than just translating a sentence. And so for this reason, we don't use Tatoeba itself to translate the interface of Tatoeba. We use something else, another platform that is called Transifex. So right. So basically, this is the platform where everybody who contributes to translating the user interface would go to translate. Now we do have a guide actually, so that's probably a guide that we should link in a more prominent place in Tatoeba to give more awareness that we need. Well, ideally, if you ask me, yeah, every sentence that every language that we support in Tatoeba, it would be great if we could also have the user interface. So we support like, I don't know, 400. How many? Yeah, over 400 languages supported, but we only have 56 languages for the UI. So there's still some way to go, but still 56 is a pretty good number. And there is a page on our wiki which actually explains if somebody would want to start contributing, how they would do that. So in short, they have to register to Transifex because that's the platform we use, and then they would have to request to join the Tatoeba translators team. So yeah, I guess I cannot see it from here like this. Maybe from here. Right, so probably from here, like if you would go to that link that is in the wiki, and if you just follow the whole steps, so you register, and then probably after that you can ask to join the Tatoeba translators team. But yeah, once you have joined the team, so you can start. So if your language already exists, and I think when you apply to join the team, you will have to apply for a specific language. So in my case, I see all the languages, but I assume other contributors, other translators, they would only see the languages which they have requested to translate for. And so from there, everything is done from the UI itself. So if I want to translate into Japanese, first I click on Translate Japanese, and then I would select the category. So there are several categories to translate. One that lists only the languages, one that lists all the countries, one that is just strings for admin, and the main one is this default here. And yeah, then there is a UI where translations can be added. So here there's nothing that is untranslated, so that is good. But if we take, for example, oh, I went too fast, never mind. Okay, we can check for Vietnamese. Yeah, if I go here, yeah, we can also filter what is not translated yet, and yeah, we can, so typing the translations would go here. But yeah, there's a whole interface here to translate. Our documentation on the wiki, I think, has a little bit of outdated screenshots, but overall the concept is just that there's a separate platform and people translate from here. now what we do in order for the translators to understand, I mean, to kind of test if their translations fit or not. So first of all, there are some notes to indicate, to give an idea for the translators what the string is about. But on top of that, every 10 minutes, whatever is translated in this platform is downloaded into our dev website. And yeah, and so if you, let's say, if I would add some translation here in Vietnamese, after, so not necessarily after 10 minutes, but at most after 10 minutes, I can go to the dev website and I can select the Vietnamese UI, and then I can browse to see if things, I mean, if the text that I've translated makes sense or not. I can test the user interface in the language that I'm translating into. So yeah. So that's about how to contribute. And the last point I wanted to explain a little bit is how to request for how to have a new language. Like, you know, so we have actually one concrete example, which is here for Tokipona. So yeah, so one thing is you can, so this you can, there are several ways. You just have to ask somewhere. So it can be, if you have access to GitHub, you can open a ticket over there. That would be, I guess, the most direct way, but you can also send an email to teamtatoeba.org, or you can ask on the wall, or you can send me a private message. I mean, there are several ways, and somehow whichever way you choose, it will for sure end up in GitHub. So if you have access to GitHub, best is to open a ticket there. So that's one thing. And yeah, one thing we need to know to enable, like to add the language, is to know what is the name of the language in the language itself, because that's the list. Basically, that's the list that we show over here. Each of the languages is in the language, like the name is in the language itself. And the second thing is that we need to add the language in Transifex as well. So I'm not sure how that works. I just know, I haven't tried myself, but I just know that once in a while I have some requests to add a new language here. So I think this is something that the translators can request themselves. And yeah, and if, yeah, in case you are a translator and you don't know how to do it, probably I can also do it myself. If I would, yeah, edit language, I can also just select from here to add a new language. So Tokipona, we already have it, but yeah, if there's any other language, that can be added from here. So language needs to be added in the Tatoeba website itself, and then in Transifex, so that people can select the language and translate into it. And yeah, the change over here itself is not too complicated. So maybe I can even do this live. Yeah, I'm thinking if I create a branch, maybe just for the sake of it, I'll create a branch. So let me create a branch for this ticket over here. And yeah, I have to change the scale so that people can see better. Up. And so from here, basically, the only thing we need to do is to go to the configuration, to the template, and yeah, we have somewhere in the configuration the list of all the languages, and we want to add Tokipona, so yeah, that's gonna be just a 3-letter code, I think. I don't think there's because the request was made only for, yeah, the ISO 639 version 3, so that would go over here. And so if we check, that would be something like this. OK, and then Tokipona, and that's one step. Just checking. Okay. So okay, so we can push this. Alright, so yeah, basically that, yeah, maybe I can actually add also that one for next week. It's a small thing. So yeah, this is pushed, and for the dev website, I can actually start activating it. So that's just a matter of going to the config and editing it, so I'll do that on the side. So I'm connecting to the dev website, and I'm just going to edit the config to add this line that I did over there in the source code. I'm gonna copy this. So I save. I need my cat to go away. Where is Shiva? So, and then refresh the cache. Up. Okay, so normally this should appear now in the list. Maybe I need to, okay, maybe I need as well to remove some cache files. Okay, maybe this works now. Ah, here it is, Tokipona. So now it's there. But obviously, if there is not enough translations, I think Tokipona, yeah, it was already added here. So let's see how many translations. Over here, okay. What has been translated exactly? So, okay, mostly the countries, the languages, but in the default, there hasn't been so much translated yet. So, welcome to Tatoeba. Okay, that's probably not part of the home page. All languages, language. So, okay, yeah. In here we can see the placeholder is already there in Tokipona. So yeah. So if anybody speaking Tokipona wants to continue translating now, so it was already possible even before it was enabled in the dev website. But now anybody who translates can further check directly and see the evolution of the UI. All right, so that's it for today. There was a message in the chat, but in the YouTube chat, but it got deleted. I didn't get to see it. And there is, I think, no questions in the chat room. So I think we can stop for today. That was, yeah, a little bit longer than 1 hour, just a few minutes, but yeah, we're good for today. So thanks for watching, everyone, and see you next time.